Good morning, everybody, and welcome in to Duly Projected. And I just want to take some time to project the New Hampshire primary. And it's early here. Got up early to do this video, so my voice sounds a little rough right now. But bear through it. We'll get through these projections, and we will see if my predictions are right. But I have a lot of math to go through, so let's take a look at it. Now here is all of the polling from the wiki page on New Hampshire. You can see up here all of the main sites with the total aggregation. And here is all of the data sets, the different polls from different days. Tells you the running days and that sort of thing. So what I have done, I have put this into a spreadsheet here. And basically I'm looking for movement. I'm looking, how stable is the aggregation to each of the polls and that sort of thing for each candidate. And, as close as we get closer to primary day, I'm seeing if there's any slippage or if, how strong a person is to kind of be able to make my final projections. So here I have combined, different polling, but on the same time frame. So I've kind of compiled like a average, you would say, of these polls. And this is the total aggregation at the top. So what you see here, this is what I've done is if the green is if they're above their aggregation and red is if they're below their aggregation for those days. And what you see here is Bernie's pretty consistent. He's pretty much above his aggregation. Pete Buttigieg, he got that bump from Iowa, and then he kind of had some slippage. But in the last polls, within the last day here, he's kind of maintained his posture. So not going to take too much off of him as far as my projection goes. Now, Warren has seen some slippage here from her aggregation of 13.1%. So we'll be watching for her to see where she falls on primary day to see if she's within that 13% or if it's a little bit below. As we know with Biden, he's been falling in the polls ever since Iowa. And this past weekend in New Hampshire hasn't helped him at all. Surging in the polls is Klobuchar. She has almost doubled her number from the beginning here, once Iowa ended till now primary day. So that'll be interesting for my projections here. What I've done is, same polling over time. So we have the most from Emerson College and Suffolk University. So what I've done is try to see, the trends with those over time. And then also where that lies with their total aggregation. The averages of both of those over time. And you can see it pretty much follows the same pattern as this type of polling. So now for my projections for the New Hampshire primary. And with Bernie staying so consistent, I would imagine that he should hit his 27% mark. It might be a little bit above. I don't see it falling below this 27% number. And I do think he will come in first in New Hampshire. Pete Buttigieg, like I said, he got a big bump from Iowa, and then he had a little bit of slippage. Since that time, I'm going to pull this up because there's some new polling in. These two polls here are new. He's coming in at 26 and 24%, and his aggregation has increased to 21.2%. So for those reasons, I think he's going to have a strong finish at 21%. So about 6 points off from Bernie Sanders. He might cut it into 5, maybe 4%, but I do see Bernie with the win, and I do see a solid second place finish for Pete Buttigieg. Now for the third place finish. I don't think it's going to be Warren, and I don't think it's going to be Biden. This is my boldest prediction, is picking Amy Klobuchar in the 3rd spot. But with her momentum in the past few days, being able to basically double your polling numbers, that's a very strong indication that she could possibly make a rise here. And I do think she knocks off Warren and Biden, and I do think she gets in the 3rd spot with at least 14% is my projection. Now with Elizabeth Warren, I do think she will end up here in close to 13%. I could see her falling in between 11 to 13%, depending, if some of these top candidates gain some, or, some of the bottom candidates take away from her. But I do think she will finish in 4th at 13%. Now, Joe Biden. He's been dipping in the polls ever since Iowa. He had a fairly good debate in New Hampshire, but then that was wrecked by his performance at some events in New Hampshire, making some headlines, and just not good press coming out from his camp. Not much enthusiasm, not much energy for him, and a lot of, that question from the voter in New Hampshire says a lot about voter confidence in his campaign. It's not very high, especially in New Hampshire here. So we're going to give him a 5th place finish. I'm going to give him 11%, but honestly, I could see this falling in between 9-10%. I don't think he gets above 11%. Now, this totals out for the top 5 candidates at 86%. And this has been the trend in polling here. So I could see, I forecast that it will at least attract 85% of the total vote. But it could go as high as 90, it could go as low as like 82, 83%. So we'll kind of take a look. It'll be fun to see the results and see how close my projections are. But this is what I'm projecting for New Hampshire. I hope you all have a good day, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks. Take care.